Live. We're live. I was just on the phone with the lovely Anna, who might be my one viewer. Um, the mornings. I've woken up. I have another day to exist, which used to used to scare the crap out of me. Why am I awake again? What does this mean? Even as a little child, I didn't really know what to do, and then eventually school came. But before that, what would I do? I would wake up and see what my mom was doing. I would wake up and listen to my brother getting ready for school, because he's a little older than me. My brother Levi, he's the best, has always gotten done what needs to be done. And so I would wake up as a kid and instantly go to the PlayStation, play video games. I would go and be excited. Little kids, before they have any responsibility, they're excited to wake up. When my son Forrest wakes up, he does this thing where he might go, get a big stretch in. You know how when babies stretch, they throw their arms back. I'm holding my phone, otherwise I do it with two hands. And that's one of the best feelings in the whole world, is just stretching, just waking up, stretching, taking a deep breath. And Forrest would say, "Good morning, Daddy. Good morning." And that still melts my heart. Um, One day he'll be a grumpy teenager, but maybe he won't. Maybe he'll have the desire to get up and go. I I spent a lot of my life dreading the day, and so I'm gonna read what I put in the comment description of this video. And if you go to my YouTube, there's me, watching me, Seth Fallenkamp on YouTube. This video is "Stand Tall, Stay Crüsh, You Are Crucial." So I'll read what I wrote, and then we'll have a little chat, and then I have to continue my day. I'll tell you guys what's going on in the life of Seth, as well as many believers and unbelievers alike. We all have the same destination in the end. Just the road that we take to get there looks a little bit different. So what I wrote is, the mornings I would dread, those thoughts in my head, like rising from the dead. What if I just lie here instead, glued to my bed? These words I'm no longer fed. Having breakfast with Dad, nourishment is no longer a fad. We have truth, and we are well read. So I'll stand up, crucial, from this bed. God is responsible. He gets all the cred. Satiated, his son bled. Christ is living. We will gather those in repose. Suppose you're a sinner, God already knows. Your nose will be blown. Your tears will be swept. Gathered little children, brood under wing. The bringer of life will always defend. No death, not life. No depth, no knife. All is yours, all is mine. Be one in love. The way of the placer, be divine. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Stand crucial and conquer today. The end told from the beginning, come what may. This message is for the people. Good morning. Hey. So, years, just, I would say it's as soon as I started going to school. And I don't want to say that the school system is totally messed up, but you're taught to think a certain way, question things to a degree. I question things a little too much, um, for the teacher's liking. But I like going to school until I realized you had to do it every day, and then you wonder if you have the assignment done. And I typically did not. And if I did, I wanted it to be the best. I wanted credit. I wanted affirmation from someone who was put in a position to teach, that I'm doing the right thing. And for so long, it's conditioned me to think that as soon as I wake up, I'm upsetting somebody because I didn't do the right thing. I didn't accomplish something that someone else wanted me to do. And if you tell someone you're going to be somewhere at 8 in the morning and you don't show up until 8:15, to some people that's no big deal. And that became routine for me, to show up to school late, unshowered, teeth not brushed, not prepared for the first class of the day. And my first class of the day was always choir or singing or band. So I would play the trumpet. And I had no idea how to read music when it came to the guitar. And still, my band instructor, who's written award-winning music, great compositions, he's practically deaf. How is a guy like like Beethoven writing symphonies through the feeling of vibration, and he doesn't exactly know what he's hearing? And that that is a faithful endeavor. Um, so I was just down in Brazil for 2 weeks, and I was taken care of by this. I can't even really just stop at beautiful. She's a woman who's beyond anything I thought I would come into contact with, and she showed me so much love. She fed me every day. We'd wake up and have coffee and smoke some cigarettes, and our conversations may seem dull to someone who would sit in and listen to what we have to say, but to me, it was very peaceful to sit in the company of someone who not only likes you but loves you and appreciates you. And we grow into this society it's hard to call it loving. It's difficult to look at society and say that this is the way it's supposed to be, but this in reality, this is the way it is. Um, I have faith that it's warm down there in Brazil. We have, I don't even know what kind of temperatures here in Iowa. So I'm back in the United States. Um, let's look up and see how cold it is here. Iowa weather. It is 13 degrees today, which means it is what, negative 19 degrees Celsius. Um, I need to do the math on that. What is 13 degrees Fahrenheit? Look at this science experiment in the morning. 13 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. Negative 10. Oh, okay. Okay. I need to figure out my math. Math and science, very difficult for me because you're trusting the steps and processes that other people have uh, taken sometimes their entire lives to figure out one equation, and then that just becomes another part of the syllabus, another act in the transaction of understanding. Um, the the goal I have in getting up in the morning and doing something is, one, I have no other option. I Before I left for Brazil, I had all these ideas to get up and design and create and promote Crüsh and do these things that I really was unsure of. And now my feet, as cold as it is, my feet are against the fire. I slept in a room that was freezing, freezing cold because when I got home from Brazil, the electric company sent the bill, and I don't have a regular job right now, which is part of my equation, part of the things I have to figure out. I have some income. I'm going to be working with Martin Zender, on a book called What is a Believer? It's a very good read. It's impactful. It helps us understand who we are as humans and what God's plan is for the least of all people. Because as believers, through the evangel given to Paul, we we did our best to fit into the system, or we did our best to resist the process of fitting in. And I've done both. I've worked my ass off to fit in, and I've also worked tirelessly to stand out. And I'm art minded. I made this hat, Joint Pain. It's a local band here in Des Moines. These guys rock, and they have shown me so much love. And I designed some stuff for them. If you can see here, we got some Joint Pain merchandise, some hats, we got beanies, and I made them over here on my sewing machine. So I've got work, I've got projects, but I'm not waking up and having someone tell me what you're worth today is $10 an hour and you're going to work for 8 hours. No, I don't have that. I have to go figure this stuff out. And that dread wants to creep in so badly. It wants to seep into my head and tell me, you're not good enough. You're not worth that. You're not going to be effective as much as your neighbor or as much as your fellow workers or the people that are above you or the people you think are below you. And what we have in value as people is so far beyond what we can reason with. You can have a high paying job, you can, and still not really be doing something that you want to be doing. You can be working tirelessly to promote artwork and no one seemingly has seen it yet or been impacted by it yet. But I think that our view is so skewed, it's so narrow. Um, and if you're trying to hit a target, if you know what that target is, if you know where you want to be, you you pursue that. And my pursuit is love. And I tell people all the time, you are crucial. You are crucial. You you are crucial. If only you knew just how important you are to this story called life. And thank God that I woke up today. I dread a lot of things in the past, and the past is gone. It's time to move forward in love, in the sureness that we have peace, that we have something for us that is not up to us. We don't decide to wake up. You can set an alarm and you might sleep through it. Um, you can say you're going to wake up at 7 in the morning, and then your body wakes you up at 6:59 in the morning. So it's amazing to see that things don't go the way we planned often, and typically they are better. The result is better. We may suffer to a greater degree than we anticipated suffering. Our car breaks down on the way to work, and now the person who is poignant and on time consistently is nowhere to be found at work. Hey, where's Seth? Why isn't he here? He was supposed to be here. He was supposed to be cutting the veggies. He was supposed to be mailing off the stuff that we have to send to our customers. Oh, Honda's out there. Oh, hey, say hi to Honda. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. So, Saints, it's been a long time since you've seen me, unless you were able to tune in to Catherine's show with Stephen, Catherine, Sven, and Ace, and myself. It would be about a week and a half ago on the Roman series. I missed the last session because I I've been inconsistent. I didn't know that we were going live last Thursday, so go ahead and catch up on that show as well. I need to do the same thing. And this message I'm bringing is to fill your head with something positive. It's to look at the day, whether you are very good at routine, you're consistent, you wake up at the same time, you drink the same amount of coffee, you take your dog out, you stretch, you work out, you meditate, you write. All these things are part of the story that is our existence. It's becoming our history just as much as we are expecting our future. And as believers in a message that we do not bring about our own damnation, we do not bring about our own salvation. It's freaky to a world that has grown up in routine, that if I add 1 and 2, I will get 3. That's just logical. It's logical. Um, what happens when two lovers unite? The two become one. Okay, now how does 1 plus 1 equal 1? Okay, it baffles the mind and the comprehension. And if all is out of God, all is being operated by God, in Him we move and live and have our being, and all is for God, that means it concludes, and God is one. How may we become one? I'm going to say hi, Halsey, hi, Vet, and hi, Collision. Collision says, "Good morning, bro. I get it. Life has become an improvisational gig in the eon, and the uncertainty that plagues most is our most moment to moment dependence with God. It's at times hard to put in words." It is. I have wrestled with the idea of waking up and getting out of bed ever since I was 6 years old. And I don't wish that type of dread on anybody. There are soldiers who are told to go and defend a base or to go into the enemy territory and conquer. And they wake up and they're told, get ready. Maybe you don't even have time to get ready. Maybe you just have to be in the face of combat. There are children around the world, men, women, and children, who wake up with bombs going off, and that's their alarm clock. I'm extremely fortunate with where I live to be able to wake up and say hi to my dog and say hello to a beautiful woman who lives 8,000 kilometers away, 5,000 miles away. I was fortunate enough to wake up next to her every day for a couple weeks. And now I wake up next to my hairy dog who is keeping me warm as I've turned the heat off in my room, because the electric company, they don't stop asking for their payment. The people you rent from or the bank with the mortgage, they don't stop asking for their income, their value. They set it. And there's people who work for them who expect pay. They expect to go home and be with their family or fill their stomachs with food and find rest. And take a look at the Son of God himself. He had no place to lay his head. He was on the go. I'm sure occasionally people would house him and feed him, and he knew all is of God. The the beauty in this story is not without tragedy. It's not without strife and pain and misunderstanding and a lack. And that lack, hey Catherine, the lack that we go through is for a purpose. And to wake up in the morning and, like our brother Greg says, I get to breathe today. I get to exist and be part of God's story. And I was leaving Brazil, and I was fortunate enough to leave on time. The airport that I was flying to within Brazil was not the same airport that I was leaving from in Rio. In Rio is the biggest city in the whole world. Or is it Sao Paulo? Someone tell me. What's the biggest city in the whole world? Hey, we're doing a geography lesson. Largest city in the world. By population. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, it says Jakarta, Indonesia. Amazing. Anyways, maybe it's in the Americas. Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo. Funny. St. Paul. The name St. Paul is the biggest city in the world. How does that happen? How do we get to a point in history where, I just said that again, in the Americas, over 23 million people. That is a large amount of people. I was flying over the city. I even drove through the city. My lovely lady's mother, she is a fireball. She's a spitball. She helped me because my phone doesn't work down there unless I'm on Wi-Fi. So I had no way to get from one airport to the next. She walked around their airport in Uberlândia, Brazil, and found someone to exchange digital currency for cash. And I don't speak Portuguese more than a couple phrases. And I was a little bit worried, but I knew it was going to be okay. I had this beautiful woman next to me telling me it's going to be okay. Are you worried? Are you going to be okay? But it's going to be okay. And her mom, who speaks almost no English, her last words to me were, I love you. And they sent me on my way. They put me on an airplane, flew me to an airport that was not the same airport that I was going to be flying to the US. And I get out of the airport. I have a couple hours to get across Rio. And Rio's the fifth biggest city in the Americas. It has over 13 million people. So you look outside the window and you see buildings. They just keep going and going and going. And I'm not talking small buildings. I'm talking skyscrapers. They, as far as you could see, there was just buildings. And you think there are people who live there. There's people who built those places. There's people who exist and they have no idea that God is at peace with them. And they will. That's the beauty in our story and our expression, that we look at society, we look at the person in the mirror, we look at all of what's going on around us, and we think that what we're doing is insignificant. We think it has no value. Sometimes we think we have the best idea in the world. And to me, Crüsh is the greatest thing that God could have bestowed on me in line with the evangel. I get to tell people you are crucial. And I don't say it's because you work this job. It's because you are a mother or a father. It's because God makes you. And we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So why wake up and dread the day when I have opportunity? And not just opportunity, but I have a plan laid out for me that I will walk in. Prepared steps of illumination. The saints understand what I'm saying when I say that God has prepared your steps. God has also prepared the steps of people who have no idea who God is. God has prepared the steps of the clergymen of, there's a church on either side of my city block There's two churches. There's two groups of people who believe that they have the message, and I'm not going to say that they don't, but I'm not going to say that they do. But there are people who are getting paid to show up and talk about something that they don't understand. And there are so many educated people who are so specialized, and then there's people like me who have like a little bit of working knowledge of a lot of things, but it's so minimal. And I wonder, how do I fit in? How do I work into this system? And I'm no longer trying to do that. I know that I have bills to pay. I know that I have a son who loves me. I know that I have parents who love me, a brother who loves me. Now I have a beautiful family down in Brazil. They love me. And this plan of God is so much bigger than any of us can fathom. So many of us only get a certain amount of years to experience the light and the dark, the depth, the heights, the richness, the poorness, uh, the monotony. And I'm learning to be satisfied with where I'm at in the process in regards to thankfulness. Gratitude in the beginning of the story of man was missing. It was not part of the story yet. There was nothing to be thankful for in regards to humans and our understanding, because we had not yet witnessed contrast. Things were different. You know, a cat was not a dog back in the Garden of Eden. Um, Water was not necessarily the air. And yet these things were all together while being separate, but they didn't know it. So this story of man is ongoing. Though we may go to repose, though we may die, though we may sleep, God is the one rousing us. He's the one who takes our breath away. He's the one who gives us our very breath. And I will grow in this understanding of who our maker is, of who his son is, not because I have something to prove to people, but because I can't shut up. I have a heart that's overflowing with joy that does not want to let go of the truth. The truth is what holds on to me, and it's in everything I do and everything I say and everything I believe, to know that I'm here to be thankful. I'm here to be in the blistering cold walking my dog thinking, I was just in tropical climates and it was so nice and I wasn't freezing. And here I am in a familiar environment of waking up without that beautiful lady next to me. Um, and yet, here's my dog. My dog loves me. My dog is dependent on me for sustenance. He's dependent on me for love, for shelter. And to think that this whole story was planned out before one thing came into being continually takes every synapses of my brain and go, this is amazing. I fly over a city like Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro or New York City, or some of you guys have been to Tokyo, um, Mexico City. There's these places in the world that are full of people, full of stuff happening. You know, the life doesn't seem to stop. And yet, even the most powerful of warriors have to eventually lay down their head and rest. There are homeless people who don't have the same amenities that the rich man or the rich woman has. I saw children flying in the airport with their parents, and the luggage, just the carrying cases of those children probably costs more than everything I own, and they still suffer. I think that our idea of suffering and classism, like where we are in the hierarchy, and or the jobs that we hold, or the truth that we believe we have, is that's that central wall that is being raised, or razed, or taken down by Christ. Christ came from the highest form of existence, being the Word of God, being the Logos, the image, the expression of the Father. And he comes down into a place where people mock him for being of Nazareth, like, oh, Joseph and Mary's boy, that's the Son of God? Really? He had no place to lay his head. They said that he was unsightly, he wasn't attractive. And yet people knew who he was. I go to the skate park here in Des Moines, Iowa. It's a huge skate park. And I'm not skating anything differently than these guys. It's a board, it's wheels, it's got bearings inside the wheels. There's nuts and bolts holding the turning mechanism, the trucks, to the board. And people recognize me. They're like, "Oh, you're the Crüsh guy." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm the Crüsh guy." I'm not wearing any Crüsh right now, but I usually am. And actually, I am wearing Crüsh. It's just hidden. There it is, Crüsh. So even though you might be hidden from the world, dressed in nebula, this is my friend's company. We're all in pain, joint pain. That pinky sideways, not it's not natural. It's very uncomfortable to have your digits taken out of place or put in a position that they're not supposed to be in. And we're growing together. Although many believers feel that we are isolated, the internet is for us. Yes, the internet is for sharing funny cat videos, and it's for watching the tragedies that are happening around the world. It's for promoting your your heating and AC company. It's for doing all these things, and yet here we are in the story, and the internet is for us. I'm connected with the saints, and I can't really explain it except that we have faith. And the funny thing about uh, the woman that I'm with is she's an atheist, and I'm actually really happy that she is an atheist. Let's get this lit. Know what I mean? Hmm. Fresh. You guys are hearing words, right? I think you guys are hearing words. This expression does not lack. I used to make videos sometimes, and this is not proud. I'm not proud saying this, but I would make videos where I was, high on marijuana. I was drunk and on alcohol, and I would have good brothers. Is the example that God is in control of all of this. He's the one who places his son. The one who represents God is being placed. And that is our task and our role and our honor and our privilege. And once you hear that God is at peace with you through the death, entombment, and resurrection of his son, and you believe it, it doesn't leave you. It doesn't lose its value. In fact, I just saw that gold has gone over $5,000. It's like the first time that that's happened in recent history. So who are we to say that what we have is lacking value? In fact, I'd like to say it's invaluable. It's beyond measure what we have in Christ. Christ died gratuitously, meaning without reason, without any equatable value. And that's representative of his Father. How is Christ representing his Father in death? He's not. He's dead. God is not the placer of the dead, but of the living. And when God rouses the entire city of Sao Paulo, seeing that every skyscraper will be leveled, every mountain will be brought down, every depth of the ocean will be brought up, that this place will become neutral. In fact, it won't just be neutral, it will be made new. This old is passing by. This old, the death and the dying is going away. Why? Why are things disappearing out of our lives that we grew comfortable with? Because we're growing into something that is much more than what we anticipated, than what we desired. Because our desires, before we know the truth, are limited. And if I tell you that all is yours, I'm not lying to you. And I'm talking to the least of all humanity, the lowest of the low. And we know it. By God, do we know it? We look at our daily lives and we may wake up in dread. "Ah, I have to be at this meeting, or I need to stick to my routine of walking, of eating, of taking care of the ones I love." And God is doing this. God doesn't birth you out of himself and then make your life bliss right off the bat. No, you're born through agony, the agony of birth, the agony of coming into a world that knows nothing of God. And through our learning as people, we form words, we form thoughts. I had thoughts in my head as a child, as an infant, that I didn't have the English language to make sense of. I didn't have logic and reasoning and all these things at my fingertips. We're born with need. We are born with wants and desires. We want to be held. We want to be sheltered. And think of all the kids that are born and don't have that. There are stories of parents who abandon their children. There's stories of rich families who they just hand them off to someone else and say, well, my business is more important than taking care of this child. So that's what happens. There are families who have everything and nothing that are families. There are families that have everything and nothing and are destroyed. They're disheveled. They're separate. There's the father that has to go to work so that he can get bread for his children so they can eat. And the kids wonder, why is dad gone? Why isn't he with me? Well, because that's the world that we're born into, is a world of not knowing. And to think that every molecule, every space in between the very fibers of our being are separate. There's my hand looks like my hand. And if you get down to the molecular level, there's gaps, there's space in between who I am in representation. And what we're coming into is a density, is a completion that's so sure and so solid that nothing is going to separate it. It is so complete, so pure, so true, so loving, powerful, and with meaning that we have nothing to do but be thankful. And so if you're like me and you spent many years of your life waking up dreading the day, I'm telling you, wake up and be thankful. And this may happen right now. This may happen years from now. You may have been thankful before you even tuned into this video. And through the grace, through the favor of the one who puts this all into place, God remains one. Though the Son of God was dead, God remained one. And he knew after those 3 days that he would rouse his precious boy into life. But there was a time where Christ needed to not exist for this story to have the impact. There's the time that you have to go to your job. There's the time that you have to suffer not knowing the words to say to your neighbor, to your, I don't even want to say enemy, but to the people who oppose you, that you have you have value in you that is beyond reason. You're not going to surmise anything that God has not already put into place. We have the words of Paul, which are the words of Christ, which are the words of God, that tell us that God is at peace with us. And that's the level of peace that I want to wake up with every day. I see Jody in the comments and Mac. What's up, guys? So I have this message of Crüsh, and it has not stopped. Although I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to a lot of these things. Um, One of the best discussions I had with my lady down in Brazil was, we're in that era of F it. Let's make it happen. Let's make some weird art. Let's show people the creative side of things. We're we're so conditioned into the logical thinking of the system. What happens when the system goes away? And Martin said something on a video uh, about 2 weeks ago, I think, where he said systems are not bad. Systems are not evil. A system, a well-running system, is good. When your vehicle is firing properly, when your brakes work, when your heat and your AC work, when your windows roll up and down, that's a good thing. When those things stop working, then you have to figure out the problem. And sometimes it's get a new vehicle. Sometimes it's work to understand what is going on. And our work is out of faith. We believe that it's not up to us to determine our outcome, but we are still part of the journey, in the sense that maybe there is time you have to get your hands dirty and go work on the car engine, change the oil. Um, you have to replace some spark plugs. You have to change a tire. And there's people around us who are given the knowledge and the wisdom and have value in what they do. And I've worked some jobs that are really low, service jobs that they don't seem glorious, and yet there is a glory that is waiting for me, and I can glory in the affliction of thinking that I'm not doing enough. That mindset is being changed, especially now as I'm being forced into circumstances that I don't I don't have enough to uh, say that I'm going to be able to, you know, do the very most basic things, pay my bills, pay the people who know that what they're doing has value, whether it has a US dollar attached to it or what. But the joy that I get in telling people you are crucial, I don't expect a payment from that. And yet God is satisfied with knowing that he made one creature, Seth Ballenkamp, to tell people you are crucial. What you're doing matters, and that he is working through you. I meet people all the time who say that they wish they believed. They wish they had some deity to have be responsible for their lives, for their bodies being held together, for the system still working, for that next paycheck to come through, for the power to stay on. And I'm just one person in this whole world. The city I live in, I think, is a couple 100,000 people, and there are many people who didn't wake up today who went to bed last night. There are many people who woke up today and wished they didn't wake up today. And I'm learning to be thankful for the most simple of things, because that, as believers in Paul's evangel, I believe is the purpose of us being here, to show the gratitude of life and love in spite of our situation, in spite of how things look and sound, um, through the ugliest of things, such as a seed being planted into the ground and water being thrown on it and poo being placed on it. Is it's ugly to go farming, to get your hands dirty, to plant things, but what comes of that is the fruit. It's the food, it's the sustenance, it's the things that will, what we believe to be the thing nourishing us, that we expect. You don't plant a seed expecting it to not grow. Paul says that he plants, Apollos waters, and it's up to God to make it grow. So this is a broadcast. This is it's a bit of a metaphor for the internet, in regards to, I'm heralding to people who already know this stuff, and there may be people who stumble across this video after it's been posted who don't believe that eventually life will be all we know, that joy will be in every breath that we take, and the sufferings that it took to get us to this point of gratitude and thankfulness are necessary. How many times does a mathematician have to screw up the equation in order to get it right just one time? How many times does a skateboarder have to manipulate their feet and their ankles and their knees and their hips and their mindset to believe that the board is going to flip and then land under their feet so they can ride away? They can keep going. They can pursue the next thing that God has for them. And I'm witnessing a lot in this world, especially from the people in my small town that I grew up in, that um, lots of people are buying into the religious system. They're declaring Jesus is Lord, but they don't really believe it because they don't know the full impact of what that is. And I'm realizing that this world is at a huge turning point, that we have um, things happening here in the US, we have things happening globally that are, quite frankly, disgusting to a heart that wants peace. And we know that through famine, there will come a time where there is an abundance beyond comprehension, that every mouth will be fed, every stomach will be satiated, and every heart will be turned toward God in appreciation. Right now, we sit in what seems like darkness. It's not. Your steps are prepared. The illumination is ready for you to walk through it. And like Martin talks about, and he educated me on walking, is you are falling into your next step. So many of us pick up our feet. So many of us pick up our and drive our knees, um, and work so hard to do something that should be effortless. And it's not that what we're doing is not difficult. It is. I have one stress in this whole life, and it's how do I bring value to a system that doesn't value me unless I'm doing what they say I should do or sounding the way they think I should sound. And this is all a conditioning of our mind that leaves me and many of us tired and weary and feeling like we're not enough when the whole plan of the story is to show you that you are one with the one who makes you. And if God is invisible, if he's inaudible, then he must have some representation that makes sense, that you can look to, that you will look to, that satisfies, and that is his son. And his son was not spared any suffering. Christ, as a man, was treated poorly. He was treated as a god by some. And yet he knew that his source would make sense of all of this. He didn't spend very much time, if any time, arguing with people. He would question them, he would make them think, and then he would go on about his day doing what he needed to do. And I'm waking up thankful. I'm waking up happy, knowing that I have another day. Things will work out. Although my vehicle may be falling apart, my bills are piling up. I'm on the search for what I'm going to do in this system, whether it's graphic design or another service job or anything like that. It's going to be okay. I don't need to worry about the things that are already prepared for me. And I'm going to read Mac's comment. It says, Crüsh is a simple distillation of the truth that God is and he will be all in all. Yeah. And for the least of us to declare such a truth that God will be all in all starts with God all in you, all in me. We are the voices that stand out in the crowd. We don't have to be loud. We don't have to be vulgar. We don't have to be crass or uh, unpeaceful. Really, we are a magnet because of the light that is Christ in us. And we're not here to convince people. We're not here to say, do this or else. We're here to say, do this because this is the way. And if you don't do this, that's fine. You cannot take yourself out of the way, out of the plan of God. Even those in death, those who do not know life, those who are unalive, as our society likes to say, um, we expect that they will appreciate the truth and reality that God is. And God always has been and always will be. He has no beginning, he has no end. And yet Christ, his image, his perfect one, has a beginning. He has a point where he ceases to exist in death, just as all of us do. And there is a point of rousing where we will not taste death again. We will not feel the sting of mortality. And because we have gone through such horrendous things, traumatizing things, things that break us, things that make us not want to wake up, I'm finding peace in knowing that through what seems chaotic has been planned beforehand. Through the not knowing, God has always known. And he is bringing us to this understanding that he is God and there is no one above him, and that we will all be subject to the love and the power and the peace and the joy that was laid out before even Christ came to be. So today is your day. It's the day of the Lord. They say in the culture of God's people that that's one specific day out of the week. That's the day of the Lord. No, nope. This is every day. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's all God's. It's all his. And he not only includes you in his plan, but he makes you the focus of his plan, that you are made in the image of love. And love has an image. The invisible has an image. And that image is who you are being made to be. I'm thankful that I have any words to say. If I had it my way, I would have given up a long time ago on doing anything, being anybody. And to the world, I'm as good as dead. But to the few that hear me, I'm thankful, because I know that I'm not speaking into the void without any return. And I don't exactly know what to expect for today, but I know that it's of God. And I'm going to go to sleep tonight, and I'm going to wake up in the morning, be it the plan of God, and be thankful again and again and again until we are at that day where we no longer need to sleep. We no longer need to fill our stomachs with food to be satisfied, because the Word, the Spirit, is what sustains us. And I have one last thing to say, and it is, you are crucial. I love you. When you look in the mirror, recognize that that is someone who God loves. When you go to your job, when you go to a place where you see all different walks of life, from plants to animals to things you can't see with the naked eye, to the people that you serve, to the people that serve you, God is happy with them. He's at peace with them. And you have a purpose that is so beyond our current comprehension. We are placed for the joy of the Father, just as Christ has been placed for the joy of the Father, roused into glory. So take on today, knowing that you have everything you need for today. You have just enough water to get to the well. You have just enough food to make it to the place that never runs out of sustenance. So, in our suffering, in our affliction, we may glory. And God knows when we're at that moment where we see our Lord and we are made as He is, that we will appreciate this full plan, and we can appreciate this now. So, stay crucial. I love you guys. It's been a long time since I've talked to you, and I think that's okay. I'd like to do this consistently. I don't know if I'll do this every single morning, but from someone like me who woke up dreading the day, I'm learning to be thankful instead, and happy, and looking toward what we may expect. So I'm going to read the description here on the YouTube video again. It says, "The mornings I would dread, those thoughts in my head, like rising from the dead. What if I just lie here instead, glued to my bed? These words I'm no longer fed. Having breakfast with Dad. Nourishment is no longer a fad. We have truth and we are well read. So I'll stand up, crucial, from this bed. God is responsible. He gets all the cred. Satiated, his son bled. Christ is living. We will gather those in repose. Suppose you're a sinner, God already knows. Your nose will be blown. Your tears will be swept. Gathered little children, brood under wing. The bringer of life will always defend. Not death, not life, no depth, no knife. All is yours. All is mine. Be one in love. The way of the placer. Be divine. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Stand crucial and conquer today. The end told from the beginning, come what may. This message is for the people. Good morning. Hey, love you guys. Stay Crüsh.